Welcome in everyone, this is Jordan with Ravens Flash Report, and today I just wanted to do a quick video recap of how I felt the Ravens played against the Green Bay Packers. Now, of course, if you're going by the score, then it doesn't look too good for the Ravens. Green Bay won the game 30-7, but more importantly for me, it wasn't about how badly the Ravens got beat. More so for me, it was about some of the individual performers and their performances in this game, which stood out, and I think going forward for the Ravens, there's actually more positives to take out of this game than negatives. Now, I understand that probably sounds like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. Josh Johnson really didn't look that bad this week. He ended up going 5 for 7 for 71 yards and a touchdown with a passer rating of 143.5. Now, obviously, a lot of his yardage did come on the one pass to Tylan Wallace, but it was still a good showing. He wasn't as sharp as he was against Atlanta. And speaking of that play, Tylan Wallace, again, looked like a guy who should not be out there. I mean, takes one target, one reception, 48 yards, and not only does he score the touchdown, but a couple of things on that play. He was wide open in the middle of the defense, so he found a soft spot in the defense and got open, and then even when he was getting tackled, he was still making the effort to reach and get the pylon before going out of bounds. He's already locked for the roster, in my opinion. Another guy who I felt did really well on the defensive side is Bo Braid. He led the team in tackles with 8 total tackles. 7 of them were solo, and he had a tackle for loss on an excellent stop right at the line of scrimmage. Another player who's obviously a lock for this team, but I was a bit surprised to see him as much as we did, was Trenton Simpson. He totaled 6 tackles, 3 of them solo. He had an interception and a pass deflection. And even without the interception and pass deflection, I saw him in the backfield at least 3 times, forcing incompletions from whoever the quarterback was at the time for Green Bay. But he continued to play well all game, and I'm looking forward to seeing his debut alongside Roquan Smith on the 5th of September against the Chiefs. Number of other guys who are either going to be on the 53 roster or I think have a good chance at being on the 53 roster that played well in this game. Sanusi Kane, again, was a physical tackler. He did miss a tackle on one run straight through the middle where he kind of whiffed on the guy's legs, but I think there's room for him to grow. But he is a very physical hitter, which I like. Tavius Robinson also had another good outing. I thought he set the edge well. I thought he was able to force runners to go back inside on a lot of occasions when they might have otherwise bounced it outside. He also played a majority of the game. And so did Malik Harrison, which, again, Malik Harrison, for at least the first half when I saw him, he was making a lot of good tackles. He was pretty much one of the only people I saw tackling in the middle of the field on some of these run plays where the guys were going up the middle seemingly untouched. Jalen Armour-Davis, he also had a decent day, along with Daryl Worley. I thought Daryl Worley played well, and again, he was solid against the run, so that was good to see from his position. And both Broderick Washington as well as Brent Urban, they had a couple of tackles in the middle, a couple of good tackles actually, which is what you would expect to see from some of the guys that are going to be in the rotation for that starting defensive line. Getting into some of the bad, Devin Leary was horrible. He was. And one of the fumbles wasn't his fault because there was absolutely no protection on the left side, and he just got hit right in his back as his arm was coming back. It sucked, but there's really no way to call that his fault necessarily. The 2 interceptions were his fault. Following that up with other bad news, it appears Owen Wright actually left the game after breaking his foot, had to be carted off. And that's a real bummer because not only was he obviously a candidate to potentially be fighting for that 3rd running back spot with Rasheen Ali, but he also looked really good on kick returns. He actually had the most kick returns on the team with 3. He took it for 91 yards, which is an average of 30.3 yards per return. And other than him, Kelly looked good. He ran the ball 8 times for 31 yards. Collier, he had some good runs, and he had some runs that he basically got bounced right off the offensive line because the offensive line, again, continues to struggle in opening up running lanes for our running backs. Now, obviously, some of these guys are backups, but there was a good portion of the time there where it was 3 of our starters were in there, or at least supposed starters, with Rosengarten, Daniel Faalele, and Andrew Voorhees. Now, How much of a difference does Tyler Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley make? And how much of a difference does Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry make? Probably a good amount, but I still think that they are going to struggle in the early part of the season with setting up those running lanes until this offensive line sort of gels and figure out its identity and how to help each other with some of the blocking schemes. And not to pile on the bad news, but another day and another Ravens defense that can't seem to stop the run. This time it was even worse. Green Bay piled on 193 rushing yards. Obviously, with them being in front the entire game, they were going to run the ball more. But real quick, guys, I just wanted to go through the Green Bay Packer rushing numbers for you. Merriweather had 16 attempts, 74 yards, 4.6 average. McCrary, 11 attempts, 64 yards, 5.8 average. Wilson, 11 attempts, 52 yards, 4.7 average. Obviously, I do think they will be better in the regular season, having guys like Justin Madubuike, having Travis Jones in there consistently, and also having, obviously, Roquan Smith next to Trenton Simpson to come downhill and sort of plug some of those gaps. Overall, it was kind of a rough game to watch. There was a lot of turnovers. There was some frustration for some plays. It was not good to see Nick Samak as well as Owen Wright leave injured. But at the same time, I'm encouraged with Josh Johnson's more consistent play. I feel better about him being the backup quarterback right now. So good plays from some of the starters or supposed starters, and bad play from everybody else, pretty much. Which doesn't look great for the practice squad, but, you know, the Ravens are kind of banking on their starters to get them through the season, as most teams do. With that said, guys, I'm going to wrap this recap up. I hope you guys are ready for some Ravens football. Week 1 is just around the corner on September 5th. We play the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. I have a couple other videos coming out before then. One, we're going to be doing a 53-man roster prediction, and then I'm going to be releasing a video talking about the relationship with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and how the coaching staff can get the most out of using those two in the backfield. If you guys did like this recap, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're new around here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be taking you guys all the way through the Ravens season, so be ready for more content there. And if you guys have any comments or questions or any thoughts on this game or the preseason as a whole, or maybe some of the players you're excited about seeing in the regular season, please go ahead and put them in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, stay safe out there and go Ravens.